podcast starts in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Bamboo Project Podcast. My name is DonivanG, the future $10 billion man. On the way to 10 billion, I decided I'm going to help create 1,000 millionaires, including myself. And not by being a guru or selling a course, but by doing the things I already love to do every day and documenting the journey to get there. I figure I'll make all the mistakes so you don't have to. My name is DonivanG, and this is how I will turn my life into a living. I like to start off by giving a shout out to all the people rocking with us and supporting the channel. We really appreciate you. We are currently streaming on all major streaming platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor. You name it, we on it. And if we not on it, we about to be on it. For everyone listening to this podcast and not watching it, you can find us on YouTube at The Bamboo Project. We have over 400 videos on our channel. Do you want to learn real estate? We got that. Do you want cooking tutorials inspired by Dr. Sabi? We got that. Do you want travel and lifestyle vlogs? Got it. Do you want makeup and hair growth tutorials? Got it. Basketball? Got it. Turo? Got it. It's everything us. All the parts of the journey that don't make it to YouTube will be on our story. You can find me on Instagram at DonivanG, DonivanGray, and my phenomenal, beautiful, amazing girlfriend, Anita Byrne, ANETABURN. The Bamboo Project is about turning your life into a living by making money off the things you already do every day. We made different playlists for all the things we're into, and you can find all of those links in the description box below. This may be your first time here, and if it is, welcome to the family. But for everyone else, this is chapter 3, page 122. Okay, this podcast has 4 different segments: life update, episode playback, Donovan's questions, and the topics of the day. All video and audio timestamps will be in the description box below. Today's date is July 19th, and it is 5:25 p.m. Tuesday. So before we get into the life update and the 4 topics, or not topics, the 4 what are they called?
Parts of the podcast.
There's another word for it. No, what I normally say. Yeah, this podcast has segments.
Yes.
Segments. Okay. We start off with Screentime. Yay! Woo! Yay! Woo! Screentime. And as I like to say every single week, if I don't take advantage of my phone, then my phone will take advantage of me. So let's see who was winning this battle last week. And I also think for the future, it'll let me see like how much time I spend on my phone. Couldn't it be crazy if in like, I don't know, 3 or 5 years, something like that, I look back and I'm like, yo, I used to be on my phone for 8 hours. Like, now I'm only on my phone for like an hour and a half a day. Wouldn't that be crazy? Hopefully I have an executive assistant I can like hire to handle all of that. I could just, that's what, listen, my life is to just make it as easy as possible. An executive assistant would be amazing. I need one of those for sure. But until I get there and have the money to afford one, wow, I'm doing not bad. So,
Like 9 hours.
You said what?
So it will be like 9 hours.
First of all, mind your business. So, last week I was on my phone for 9 hours and 25 minutes.
Why you be like, oh yeah, that's great. Nah,
It was up
you're bogus.
5% from the week before, which was 8 hours and 57 minutes. And most of that time was spent on YouTube. Damn, I said that so Baltimore. That was so crazy. I've been watching too much videos. Whoa. Bruh, that was crazy. I was watching a lot of videos today about different accents, and that was crazy. YouTube. Oh yeah. 'Cause you know what's funny? I think I said it like that because somebody in the comments had wrote it out. Like, look how they say it. But I don't think I would have said it from hearing it. But I think seeing it, and now my brain pronounces it how I saw it, which is what I don't even know what I said. How do you know how I said it? What is it? YouTube. I don't even know what it was. That shit was crazy. Did I hear that? That was crazy. Woo, that was crazy. So YouTube YouTube. Okay, to get that together. That was crazy. So I spent 19 hours and 15 minutes on YouTube, and Instagram was 8 hours and 45 minutes, and Google Maps was 8 hours and 27 minutes. I picked up my phone on average 119 times a day, which is higher than normal. I think it's just kind of high overall. Google Maps was 4 hours on Sunday. YouTube was 3 hours, 2 hours. I feel like this is cap. I feel like something is not on here. That's like, let me see, 3 hours, 1 hour, maybe. I don't know. I feel like you're obviously capping. So most of my time, entertainment is number. Travel, yeah, damn, that's crazy. YouTube, not entertainment, okay, Apple. But yes, phenomenal, beautiful, amazing girlfriend. What was your screen time for last week? I'm ready. Ready.
So my average for last week was 6 hours and 17 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with Google Maps.
Okay.
12 hours.
Okay.
It says that my top used app was Google Maps for 12 hours, then Instagram for 10, then TikTok for 5. And I figured that my screen time would go down because I've been working on the course.
What should I start with first? I guess we heavy into the house right now. I guess we real heavy into the house. So, the title probably says this, so I'm going to talk about this first. And Melissa asked me about it before the podcast starts. So, I want to fire the agent that we have for the property. So, like I said, Melissa asked me about this earlier before the podcast started. And I don't know if I talked about this recently on the podcast, right? But I know a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to figure out how did Melissa and I, or I'm gonna say me, well, I guess we're both here, but what decisions did I make that led me to choose our current contractor, right? And what was I feeling that made me do that? The thing that we came up with, and I might have brought it up on the podcast, is the perception of not having time, the perception of lack of time, right? That's kind of how we phrased it. So what that means is that I make decisions with the perception that I don't have time or that time is running out, right? You can call it, I wouldn't call it rushing because I still feel like it's calculated decisions, but one of the variables that I account for is time. So when accounting for that time, I may make a different decision as if we had a lot of time. And the problem is that majority of the time we have time. There's nothing that actually really comes up where we have to rush. An example of that was when we were buying the flooring for the house. When we were at Home Depot, I remember they had like this like service that they offer where they will check a bunch of different warehouses for the good price. And if they do that, you normally get a discount as opposed if you buy it in the store. However, it takes a couple of weeks for it to actually get to the house. So during this time, I'm like, okay, the house is about to be done. I want to get these things as soon as possible. So I'd rather buy them. Actually, what we did was we drove to like 3 or 4 different Home Depots, got all the flooring to bring to the house, right? Because we didn't want to wait the extra 2 weeks for stuff to be delivered and then be put in. Okay, so that was back in maybe February. Okay, the house is still not even on the market yet. So I think it's safe to say that we had enough time to save money on buying the flooring. The house situation is very similar. That store's a little bit longer, but it still falls into line with operating out of the perspective or perception of lack of time. We hired the contractor we had because we're like, okay, we have to get this house closed, but they won't give us the money for the house if we don't have a contractor with a budget. So let's use him to do it. And we're like, okay, we'll get this house flipped as soon as possible because we want to move to Atlanta. Let's try and get this done, right? So from that, I believe that for me personally, with those examples and others, I think that is what causes me to choose adding an extra variable, causes me to make decisions that hurt down the line. So, with that being said, I want to fire the agents. Now, the reason I want to fire them is because multiple times, even in a conversation I had recently or yesterday that I'm going to get to, which is crazy, it's about picking the right team. And a lot of people who have to build teams, who I've heard, who are at higher levels, normally say things like, if you find somebody that is not good now, they're not going to be good later. Like, you want to hire people that are good when you get them and they get better later. If you're already having problems with them when they start, it's unlikely that they're going to get a lot better. So a couple of things that came up with the current agents, right? I think I talked about this on a podcast before, where I felt like the agent that's going to be representing us would not sell the property well. And that's based off how she talked to me about it. I feel like she would not pitch it correctly, because at the end of the day, how you pitch it to someone and how you sell it to them will make them decide whether or not they want to get it. So I was not very confident in how she sold it to me. However, I feel like we have very good rapport. I feel like we were very cordial with each other. And I felt okay. I felt like maybe in the beginning there was more initiative, but as of right now, I feel like, okay, I don't really feel the same initiative. Multiple times I've asked for different things as far as going to the house. Each time, or maybe 2 out of the 3 times, they weren't in the city. They were out of the state. They couldn't make it to the house, right? Now, something I learned from running game on women back in the day was that, like I said, to me, that was like one of the most monumental lessons or time periods from my life. One of the things they taught me during that was, if you have a date with a girl, right? Or you want to make a date with a girl and you say, hey, here's how the line will go. I want to see you, right? Let's say you go, I want to see you on Thursday at 7:00. Okay. If they say, oh man, I can't do Thursday, it's not going to work for me, I'm busy, right? The problem with that response is there is no other date given for us to have a date. So if I'm applying that to this, and what that pretty much meant was that 2 things: either they didn't want to go, or they weren't enthusiastic about going, right? Now, in business, that can be seen as bad either way. So for this, the other day I had asked her, hey, the dehumidifier wasn't plugged in when we left. Can you plug it in? Because she lives down the block from the house. She said, oh, I'm not going to be in the city today, or I'm out of the city, or something like that. And I said, okay. I'm like, all right, I'll find somebody else. But at no time did she offer to have somebody else go, offer to do it the next day, anything like that. Now, like I said, when it comes to building a team, I feel like these are the small things that matter when it comes to deals, because I don't feel like she would have the push or the drive to follow up with other people who want to buy the house. If she's not doing that with me, how would I think she'd do it with someone else who's probably not even paying her, really, because the money coming from me? So that to me is an issue. I also feel like, again, there hasn't been much initiative going to the house. We were told that they may try and show the house while it's in its current state before it goes on the market. That hasn't been done either. I sent pictures on Saturday after we cleaned it, just to kind of, help with that process, because like my thing is, I don't want to have to wait for you to do it, because if I wait for you to do it, it may never get done. So I'm like, you know what, I'll take pictures myself and I'll put the one I took on the screen, and then you guys can take that and send that to whoever maybe already have buyers or people who want to buy, whatever you may already have. They can look at it now, and we could probably get this thing closed even earlier. I haven't heard anything back from her about them. So because of that, for me, I'm like, okay, that probably means that either one, you didn't like the pictures, but you didn't really say to me, and you didn't. That's one thing. The other thing is, she didn't send them to anybody, or she didn't even tell me she would send them to anybody. So those to me are issues. I need somebody who's going to be relentless about getting the house sold. That's the kind of mentality or mindset that I want when it comes to this, and I don't really feel like I'm getting that. So to me, like I said, that's kind of problematic. What do you think about firing them or keeping them?
Did you say about tomorrow?
In terms of what?
Did you say already that you're planning on talking to them tomorrow?
I said that?
I'm asking if you said that.
To them?
On the podcast so far.
I'm saying, I told you I was talking to her tomorrow.
You said that she texted you.
For today.
That was for today?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was for tomorrow. Is that still going on?
Exactly. That's what I'm talking. That's probably what I'm talking about.
I thought you said tomorrow.
Hey Donovan, I'm gonna stop by the property this afternoon and take a look. Assuming all looks good, are you ready to get the listing started? We can connect for a call tomorrow morning to discuss getting it on the market as early as this week.
And that text was yesterday?
Nah, that text was today. So the call, yes, for tomorrow. But I was talking about going to the property. It's today.
Oh, so I'm talking about the call. But I feel like we could hear her out. Because it's like, I hear where you're coming from, but I also feel like she's not obligated to go to the property, like, unplanned. So, I don't know.
But like I said, my thing is not about going. It's about what happens when you can't go.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Because it's like, I feel like that's not really her responsibility. But the reason why we have the humidifier is so that the house could be sold and for showings and stuff. We didn't get it for ourselves. So it's kind of like, it does affect her. Like, it would be in your best interest if you're going to be showing people for it to be on.
Right.
So I see where you're coming from. Because that doesn't benefit us. Like, it does in terms of selling, but it also benefits her too because she is supposed to be making money off the sale. Yeah, I don't know. Does she have any other listings right now?
I don't know.
Cause I'm also like, how would you go about finding another realtor?
I could pay for the Bright MLS thing and find her the same way I found the other ones. And honestly, what I was considering doing was not even having a realtor. And just what I would probably do is call up a bunch of realtors and say, hey, do you have a buyer for this property? And then you bring your buyer to the house. And if they buy it, then maybe I'll give you 1% or 2% or something like that, as opposed to giving you 3%. Or give them nothing, honestly.
Why would you give them nothing?
Why do I give them nothing? Because they're not representing me.
They're representing the person, though. They was like 3%.
But we're gonna have to give up 6%.
Huh?
We have to give up 6%.
Why?
Because our agent would get 3 and they would get 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that instead of giving 6, we'd only be giving 3%. Is what I'm saying. So I'm saying I would give them an extra percent.
Because you said nothing at all, so I was confused.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. So they would be getting, because I don't consider that, it's weird. I don't consider that paying them. I know it's weird, but yeah. So I was thinking about giving them 1% instead of 6%.
But why would you do that?
1% over the 3%. I'm not talking about the 3%. 3% is already solidified as their number.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about giving them 4%. Okay.
Right. As opposed to 3. So I'm like, because I also have them maybe write up the contract or something too. Like, hey, you write up my contract, I'll give you 1% as a transactional agent.
I'm thinking that maybe we should still have somebody that we know personally look over it to make sure that, because if they're writing up the contract, they can write it up in a way that's beneficial to the person that they're going to sell the property to.
Like what?
Just like whatever things that you wanted might not be in there. Whatever terms.
Like what?
As is, or you're not responsible for leaky basements.
So like I said, that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. It's just calling up all the agents. I'd have to pay that fee that we owe, or that I owe to them, and things like $140, something like that. Because what I'm concerned for is we hire them and they don't do a good job. That's my problem, and we end up with another contractor situation.
Yeah, I understand that. I think going about it the route that you're talking about would be good. Like looking through the buyers and trying to get a person through that. I just also think that they won't necessarily be in our best interest.
Right, we wouldn't have nobody representing us.
Right, which isn't always a good thing. I feel like.
I don't really feel like it's that bad when it comes to selling a house.
Why is that?
Because I feel like there's less liability to sell it than it is to buy it. Because if I buy the house and my agent is not representing me, then it's like I'm gonna get a house with a leaky basement. I'm gonna get a house that has all these problems in it. If I sell a house, that's whatever comes with it. You get that. The only problem would be if they put in a contract that I'm responsible for fixing something after they already purchased it, which I don't even think is legal. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. So I'm still on the fence just because, like I said, I have to fire them. She was supposed to go to the house today. I haven't heard from her at 6:00. She said in the afternoon. The sun is still up, so who knows. But at this point, I have not heard anything from her. So like I said, that I'm not really a fan of too much. So okay, on to the next exciting thing. I have figured out what I want to do for the rest of my life. There's two things that I'm going to be doing for the remainder of my life, for sure, 100%. Other things will probably be in there, but these two are the mainstays. One, that'll be buying businesses, and two, that'll be wholesaling real estate. The reason I like wholesaling real estate is because I feel like you can get cash faster than if you were to buy a business to some degree. I think you get large amounts of cash faster than if you were to buy a degree, and it's less risk and less liability with wholesaling than there is with buying a business, because on a smaller level you can wholesale a property and get 5k 10k 20k whatever. On larger deals, similar to, I remember Alex Hormozy has said that someone had just saw his YouTube channel, said, hey, you have a bunch of cash. They bought a property to him, and I think the person probably got like, I feel they got $1 million or like $900,000 as a wholesale fee, some crazy number like that. And that to me is a great cash flow business, because you can wholesale when it's down and you can wholesale when the market is up. You can wholesale it all the time, like throughout the year, no matter what's going on in the economy. You can wholesale because people are always buying real estate. People are never not buying. Either people who don't know about real estate are buying, or people who know about real estate are buying. People who are new, people who are selling old houses, they're trying to whatever. People are always selling real estate and buying real estate, no matter what the economy is, right? The housing price may be lower, but people are still buying and selling. So I'm like, okay, I want to do that. Now, I was going through the Turo videos a while back, right? Maybe like a week or two, maybe like last week, because I'm about to start posting the remainder of the Turo videos I have that people had asked for. And in the comments, I had saw that someone had suggested I start buying businesses, right? I'm actually going to find that actual comment myself. Okay, so yeah, this was a conversation that we had, right? They commented, why don't you charge for the delivery fee of the car? I said, we are delivering the car to the address on the listing, and since we live in a different state, we had to drive across the bridge to drop it off. He responded and said, oh, I see. However, you can still charge delivery fee. Just keep talking about Turo. YouTube will pay you. So you still making money from Turo. By the way, look into buying a business. Fastest way to create generational wealth. Good luck, guys. I wish you all the best. So that was from 3 months ago. Right. So I said to him, I said, yeah, we're definitely starting to finally make a little more money from YouTube. And that's something I've been starting to think about lately. Buying a business can be like buying real estate. And I never thought of it that way. For whatever reason, I guess just from my upbringing and my information and knowledge, that was never something that people talked about in my circles. Real estate, sure. Starting a business, sure. Whatever else, those type of things, sure. But buying a business, not really. So he responded and said 80% of all the channels that talk about Turo make more money on YouTube than actually Turo. I know people that make money from car rentals, but they have started a while back and only a few markets are really profitable. With this said, it's always good to try and fail. Eventually you will figure it out. He said, buying a profitable business is better than real estate. I'm speaking on personal experience. I invest in real estate too, but by buying businesses, I was able to grow exponentially. It is not easy, but the same effort that you are using to find property, you can do the same with businesses that are already profitable. right? So I kind of asked him, hey, how do you find businesses or whatever? He gave me some information, how to find them, right? And he said, listen, I can't really give all of that out here because it'll be so much to tell you on a YouTube comment. So we ended up talking. Not again, that was 3 months ago. So 7 days ago, I was like, hey, I saw this comment. I hit him up. So we got on the phone yesterday, right? We was talking back and forth on Instagram, trying to schedule a phone call. Bruh, first of all, here's the reason why people should be buying businesses, in my opinion. I've never done it, never looked into it. This is what my assumption off of what I see and what I've heard from him and other people doing it. Okay. Most people that are in real estate that I've seen, speak to, experience, whatever, learn from, will buy a house for, let's say, $300,000. That house might bring them net profit every single month, $400, $700, something like that, right? Maybe even $1,000. Let's say you get $1,000 a month, right? Let's say you get that much money per month. Okay, you spend $300K and you are making less than what you would probably make at McDonald's, and you spend $300K to get there. To me, that's crazy. Now, yeah, there are benefits of buying a house, depreciation, appreciation. You know, you could do Airbnb sometimes. You could do different things with it, sure, right? But for me, that payoff doesn't make sense. To give somebody $300K and they give me back a couple $1,000 or whatever, right? So when we talked yesterday, talked about buying a business. So he was saying that pretty much what they like to do is, I think the average is like, you might buy maybe like a laundromat at like 3x the annual revenue, right? So I don't know if it's revenue or profit, something like that. I'm not sure the exact phrasing of it, but let's say that you have a laundromat that's making $100K a year. You would pay $300K for that laundromat, or even $500K for that laundromat, right? But you will make every single year $100,000, right? So I put out $300K for this laundromat, and I'm getting back $10K every single month in profit, right? Let's say I'm giving $7,000 back a month in profit. That is a crazy, that return is significantly better than real estate, like by far. And if you update a house, right? Let's say you renovate a house and you add some value to it. The house goes up in value, right? But the most is probably gonna go up maybe a couple $100,000, possibly, maybe. And you only get that money if you sell the house. With a business, I could take it from $10K a month to $20K a month to $30K a month. Keep that money every single month, and then when I sell it, I can sell it for 3x the multiple of what the profit is after I've already increased the value of the business. So think about the numbers for that. If I have a business that's $10,000 a month that's bringing me in, right, and I buy it for $300K, right, and I increase the revenue from $10,000 a month to $30,000 a month. So now the business is making, let's say, $1 million a year, right? 30 times 10. No, it's not $1 million. It'd be like $300,000. It'd be $300,000 a year, something roughly around that, right? If I buy that at 3x the multiple, I can sell it for $1 million. So I make $1 million on the sale, and before I sold it, I was making what, 400K a year in my cash profit. In my pocket, I'm keeping that. And I could take that money and reinvest it somewhere else. While somebody else bought a property and they're making $400, $1,000 a month off of this property. So I'm like, to me, it's insane, right? So during this convo, man, like I said, I'm so appreciative of him because we were on the phone for almost 3 hours talking about this. So he has experience in buying businesses, and man, it was so much. I took so much notes. There was so many things that happened that I learned from the phone call. It was crazy. Like, bruh. So he'd been doing this for like 15 years or so, right? Maybe I think he said 12 to 15 years. And the phone call, the things he was telling me on the phone call, I couldn't believe my ears, because something I've heard before, again, from Alex Hormozy, is to surround yourself with people that speak in higher multiples of units of money, right? Now, never in my life have I ever talked to somebody that I feel like has this kind of money. Like, never. Like, I've talked to people that are probably a millionaires, maybe 3 million or whatever, but nobody I know has told me that they are trying to buy 80 Church's chickens. This is a factual conversation we had yesterday, for $56 million. Actually, no. That's how much the bank had approved them for the loan to buy the Church's chickens. They were going to buy 80 Church's chickens for, I think it was like maybe 70 million or 80 million. I think it was like 10% or something like that. But it's crazy to me that my mind was blown having this conversation, because like I said, no, I don't have conversation with people that even speak of that kind of money. Like, and I'm talking about not as what they aspire to, as in what they're currently doing. Like I said, I heard millions, I've heard hundreds of thousands and stuff like that, but never that kind of money. So here's some other crazy stuff, right? So I'm talking to the guy, and I'm asking him questions about his old deals or his first deal, how he got into it. So he had told me that he had bought I think he bought a brokerage, right? And the brokerage, bro, this is crazy. I think he bought it for like $6 million, right? I think that's what it was. I feel like it was $6 million. And in 3 years, he sold it for $25 million, right? And I'm just like, bro, this is the kind of shit you see on like Business Insider. Like when you see like the memes and the stuff on Instagram, this is the kind of stuff you see. I don't know anybody personally that does these kind of deals, right? So I'm already like blown away, like, damn, that's crazy. So it gets even crazier, because then he tells me that after doing this deal, or not specifically right after, but after this one had already passed, they have bought a mortgage company, right? I'm like, okay, that seems regular, whatever. Say it was making a lot of money. I said, okay, that's cool. So he tells me that the mortgage company is making so much money that Warren Buffett decided to buy it, right? So they had to broker the deal with Warren Buffett. So he had to sit down multiple times with Warren Buffett to broker this deal, right? And Warren Buffett loved the deal so much, like I said, he bought it from them. They still have a percentage of this company that they sold to him. They decided to take it from not only being a mortgage company to extending mortgages, they added a brokerage to it. Okay, so they added the value to this company, brought it to Warren Buffett, and he was like, oh, this is great, I'm gonna buy it from them. So now they own a piece of this company that Warren Buffett owns. Now, how many people have, I mean, maybe it's more common in rooms I'm not in, but I don't know any rooms of people that could tell me they talk to Warren Buffett or anybody with that kind of wealth at all. Zero, zilch. And I'm like, just the fact that you are even in that same room, that you had, there are probably things that you learned about business in a sense of, he might have said, well, hey, I wouldn't buy it for this number because of X. Maybe even the way he negotiated the deal, just things like that. Because the way that Warren Buffett would approach anything when it comes to financial investments, however it is from any perspective, I'm assuming is going to be leaps and bounds more profitable than any regular person would be looking at a property or an investment to make. So if he said, you know what, I don't want to buy this property because I think that, I don't know, let's say the EBITDA is too low. I learned that word too. Not learn it, but he used it frequently. Let's say the EBITDA is too low, right? Somebody might go, damn, I thought EBITDA over X number was high. He's like, nah, it's not high because X, Y, and Z. You're like, damn, that's crazy. Just like that. Because I've always wanted to know, when Warren Buffett sits down and goes through all the financial statements of a business and he buys it, what is he looking at? Because he's obviously looking at things that other people are not looking at, right? That's what I would assume. So I don't know. Like I said, to me, it's just crazy. But with that being said, like I said, we had a 3-hour-long conversation, and he dropped gems, jewels, diamonds, whatever you want to call it, and he gave me some like paperwork I could look over, and that is the thing I'm going to start doing. And I want to get so proficient at it that I can teach. Like, I want to have it where I have a program or a community center or whatever for younger black people who are, because even he's like, listen, if I knew about this when I was a teenager or younger, I'll be buying businesses. That's what I want us to be doing at that age. Like when you're 17, 16, 15, we learn how to buy a business, because you could this is so crazy. You could not go to school, to college, right? Buy a profitable business the right way, and just like that, be making $8K a month. And if you do it right, you don't have to even work. Now this this shit is crazy. This shit is crazy. But one of the things that he told me, which really stuck with me, and which is why I want to fire my agent, is because he said, if you want to buy a business, the first thing you have to do is build a team. Build a team first before you do anything else. And he said, because my whole thing with him, because I kind of remember the whole situation with my contractor, he said, if you find somebody that you work with and they are not that good, get rid of them immediately, because they are not going to get better. And I've heard that before on YouTube videos, and he told me this. He told me. So I'm like, okay, if this is what somebody who has done this before multiple times is telling me, who has large amounts of wealth, or I'm assuming he's done large deals, right? I'm assuming I should probably heed his advice. So this is where my confliction is coming when I think about firing or not firing this agent. Yeah, it's tough, because the more I think about it, everything points into firing them, right? However, I just don't know what to do after that fire. Like, I have an idea what I can do, but I don't know if it'll work. So that's just where I'm at. But everybody's saying fire my agent. Everything is saying the ideology of, if I had, let me bring this back up before I finish this topic. So Melissa and I had the conversation about the perception of lack of time. So to solve that, what I would ask myself, what we came up with to ask myself is, if I had more time, what decision would I make? Right? When I asked myself that question, it was like instant, fire them. If I had 2 more months to find an agent, I would not use them. And it's like, okay, so there's that. Then I have my already gut feeling about them. Then I have this other guy saying, listen, I'm telling you, well, he didn't specifically say fire them, but he said that. So I'm just like, okay, all these signs are pointing to, I probably should fire them. So that's kind of, like I said, it's one of those, how do you know what you don't know what you don't know? So I don't know what happens if I fire them, and if I don't know. So that's where we at now. So now, anything you want to say about that?
I honestly feel like if you put the time and energy into it, you can sell it. So I don't really feel anything about firing them. I think it kind of sucks because it started off, I felt like, very good or enthusiastic. And I feel like it would go well if they just, because it's always, what's weird to me, because it also might be because we are from a different state.
I thought about that.
Because I know the stereotype is that New Yorkers are impatient and they're rude, they quick, they fast, they're always on the run. And, stereotypes are stereotypes typically for a reason. So that means that if you think about it like that, like if everyone I'm encountering don't work on weekends, taking their time, they start off one way, but, there's no urgency in the middle, it's kind of like, well, then for us it's a huge red flag, because typically the people that we work with are the people in our area, we all on the same time. We all trying to, it is understood why someone will be upset at you for not doing something in a timely manner, because of how valuable time is in this city. If you're from a city where time isn't that valuable, like it'll get done it'll get sold when it gets sold, it'll get done when it get done, then it's different. And that can be a factor that plays into why they are the way that they are. I'm curious to see what happens dealing with other people, if they're gonna be the same way. But like I said, I feel like it could be figured out without them.
Just throwing this out there, that if we don't have a seller's agent, we keep $9,000 extra.
I also wouldn't mind them staying on it. But then if they stay on it and it takes longer, I'm gonna be upset. So it's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't really know what the best decision is.
Right.
Because I think this is one of those things where you choose something, you stick to it, and then you make the best out of whatever you choose. Which is either we're gonna have to wait a bit longer, either we're gonna wait a bit longer dealing with them, or still gonna have to wait a bit longer dealing with the other agents, or like either way, I don't know how to cut it where it's gonna be done quickly. It's not.
But that's the thing. I don't even know if it's about quickness. To me, it's just more so about personality type. Because like I said, even with her and not going to the house yesterday, it's not about quickness. It's just about, hey, I can't make it there. I can have somebody else go there. I can go there tomorrow. Would that be fine?
But that's still, why would I do that if I don't feel a sense of urgency? I don't know why you feel like it's that.
It's not. I mean, I don't feel a sense of urgency.
It's
not. If I say, hey, I want to take you out, and you go, nah, I'm good. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
You don't want to go out.
Right.
But that's not what happened.
Okay, I say I'm busy that day.
I see what you're saying. Like the fact that she didn't bring it up at all. You mean?
Right, and this is my problem. Where I think I'm at right now is, it's not about whether they're not bad. They're just not really good. That's the problem.
But that's why it's kind of like
same thing with a contractor.
Do you want to? I mean, because there's headaches that come with that, of course. But there's also kind of like I don't know. I don't like thinking about this house. That's why I'm trying very hard in my other endeavors, so I don't have to worry about this house much. Because I feel it's a hard situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I said, I think whatever is chosen just has to just make the best situation out of whatever.
Yeah, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out we're trying to make the best decision. Because I can same thing with the house. We made a decision, we stuck through it, and we're here.
Right. That sounds like it don't really matter what you choose, because you can choose to stick with them, kind of like.
So you don't think it mattered who we chose for this property?
What do you mean?
You don't think that the decision to choose who we chose had anything to do with the property?
I think it did, but I think that we're not coming from a place that we could leverage the best. Does that make sense? Like we don't have an excess of money. We don't have an excess of opportunities per se. So we got the best that we could, and it's kind of the same situation with the agents where it's like this was never going to be the ideal situation because we're not starting from an ideal place. Okay,
but think about it let's say that what you're saying is true, because I kind of don't agree as much. But
you kind of what?
Don't agree as much. I'm gonna come back to it. We have leverage with the agents.
How?
We have a house. We don't have to use them.
Right. Which is, yes, but that's not, that wouldn't be the solution. It would be like, the solution would be to just like go with the top agent or whatever, right? But the top agent wouldn't probably want to go for our property because it's not the top property.
It's not the top agent. It's the personality. It's not about getting the number one agent, because the number one agent might not work for us. We might get him. He's like, listen, I have 3,000 other properties. I can't think about this. It's about somebody who's like, hey, you need a property sold. I'm gonna do my best to sell it.
So then, how would you find that person?
By making quick decisions when the flags come up. That's what I think.
Sure, but it's kind of like how long are you willing to spend? How much time are you willing to spend looking for that person?
A month.
Okay, and then
maybe month and a half.
Okay, so you said month and a half. how long do you think it's going to take? Like, once you have the best person or that person, how long do you think it's going to take to sell?
Well, that's the thing. If I use them, but I think at the worst case scenario will be that, because my plan is to call agents regularly. So if I'm calling agents regularly saying, hey, do you have somebody for this? I think that I'll find somebody that will be more inclined to be like, yeah, hold on, I know a person who wants to buy this. Can I bring him to the house today?
Sure. I think that is true. Because you're not looking for agents to represent us.
Right.
That's a different route. I'm saying that if we were to look for the best person to sell a house, the time that we would have to invest in that is not ideal in the situation, because our time is connected to money.
I mean, sure, but there's a thing. We having them on the property could take 4 months to sell.
Having who on the property?
The current agents.
Sure. That is possible. That's why, that is possible. I feel like it's very unlikely, though.
Sure. Like the house taking a year and a half. It's like, yeah, that seems really unlikely. But I don't. My thing is, do we see things now that can possibly bring it to fruition? I say yes. I don't know if you agree. I say I do see things like that.
How do you? Okay, so she said she was gonna go to the property today.
Mm-hmm.
Have you said anything to her?
To respond to that, no.
Did you respond to it at all?
No.
Why not?
Because I was something else I'm gonna bring up. Because I want to see if she's gonna go to the property. I want to see where her I guess her incentive, or where she's at, her I don't want to call it assertiveness, but I can't think of the word. But is she going to try and go to the property? That's my thing.
I mean, if I tell you I'm gonna go to your property tomorrow, you don't respond to me, I'm gonna think that you might not want me to go. Not if you
want to sell it, you're not.
Sure.
And something else that the guy told me on the phone yesterday was, whenever you hire somebody, give them a task. See how they complete it immediately. Give them a task immediately, and see how they react to it. See how they complete it. See what they do. How well it takes. Or how they do it.
But that's not what you're doing.
I am testing her to see. Are you going to? Why are you saying it? What?
Because I feel like that's not the right way to go about it, because you're doing a negative.
What's the negative?
Not responding to her.
What does that mean? Okay, let me give you an example. If she's a seller or a buyer and not responding to her, what would she do?
What do you mean?
If she has a person that she's working with she's looking for buyers, and they don't respond to her, what would she do?
She'd probably look for another person.
She just stop responding to them. Do I want that kind of buyer?
What do you mean?
Do I want a person who's gonna treat the buyer like that's what I'm saying?
Treat them like what?
They didn't respond to me, I'm not talking to them no more. I'm not gonna follow up with them. I'm gonna leave it alone.
I don't know if that's the right person to buy the house, because they're not interested.
Why they're not interested? Because they didn't respond?
Probably.
If they said I want to buy the house,
yeah.
Because we've already talked about her coming to the house for the dehumidifier, okay. So she knows I want her at the house.
Okay.
She knows I want the house sold this week.
Right. So then why are you not responding to her?
Because I want her to go to the house. She texted me and said I'm gonna be in the house this afternoon.
Right.
So I should then ask her, are you still gonna go to the house?
But you never responded to her at all. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
That's a problem.
Why is that a problem?
Because I feel like in order to have a good relationship, I feel like it's more than just I'm gonna test you and see what you're going. I'm gonna put this cookie in front of you and see if you're gonna take it.
Why?
Huh?
Why do you think that?
Because I think that it's a part of, in order to foster a good relationship because this is a team that you're building, right?
Sure.
I feel like you should be coming off in a way that makes them either feel not comfortable but just reliable. The communication lines are reliable, they're open or whatever. So if I say to you hey, I'm gonna go to the property tomorrow, and you don't respond to me, I don't really know what that means.
So what would you do? Nothing? Is that who you want on your team? They do nothing? They go, well, he didn't respond, so I just left it alone. I don't know what happened. I just think he didn't want to respond to me, so I left it.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't feel comfortable with that. With that action. I feel like the best thing to do would have been like to respond to her, and then if she doesn't show up, it's like, well, what the fuck, and just end it off.
But this is my thing. Is she going to the property because I responded to her? Because she told me first I'm going to the property today. Mm-hmm. So she said I am going to the property today.
Right.
So I'm believing you.
Also, do you think the security system has anything to do with it?
No. One, she has the code, and two, she has my number.
Okay. I mean, she texted your number, you didn't respond. So what having your number have to do with anything?
She could call me.
Sure.
Like, as I'm saying, if I told her, listen, if this was $100 million house, she probably would be.
I understand what you're talking about. I do understand what you're saying.
I can't think of the word. Starts with an A. I can't think of the word. She would be more something.
I don't know the word. I understand what you're talking, because I operate that way. Sure.
Because honestly, what if I didn't get the text? What if I didn't see the text? What if it didn't come through? Like, anything could have happened, and she's going with, I'm gonna just let it go. I'm gonna leave it out there for whatever happens.
And then, I mean, listen, if you have a conversation with her tomorrow or something like that, and she brings up like, hey, why didn't you respond to me when I sent you the message? Like, what will you say?
I would say
I was testing you.
Yeah, I would say, listen, you told me to go into the house. I'm waiting for you to go to the house.
Nah, that doesn't fit.
I hear you, but
I feel like giving someone a task is like if you give someone a task, give them all the tools to succeed at the task or whatever.
That is where I'm at, and I think that I do agree with. It does make me feel uncomfortable doing what I'm doing.
You probably shouldn't be doing it.
I don't know if that's true, because now it's on me to make sure that she goes to the house. It should not be on me.
Are you the manager?
Yes, but I am managing people that are doing their job. I'm not babysitting them.
I mean,
because as a manager, you're doing other things. Because think about this, right? If someone comes to you above you and goes, "Hey, the trash was taken out yesterday,"
yeah.
Now you get reprimanded for it.
Exactly. That's why I said it's on me.
Sure. What I'm saying is, now that it's on you, you have to do something about this with this person.
Right.
Right.
But that could still, that means I have to do something. That still takes the form of reprimanding, written warnings, to yes, firing. That's all does fall under the same category of either like a punishment or like dealing with the situation.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Because like I said, I'm conflicted. I'm very conflicted because I have not experienced that level of managerial position where I have to fire people regularly, right? But however, what I can tell you, bring back to women back in the day, I remember a phone call with a girl, right? Never forget this phone call. Met her on Tinder. We got her number that same night, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" She's like, "Yeah, nothing much." I was like, "What do you do?" She's like, "Oh, I work at Target." I said, "Oh, cool. When do you work?" She said, "I work from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m." I said, "Yeah, this not gonna work. This not gonna work for us because I work when you're sleeping, and you work when I'm sleeping. So we just cut off right now. We're just not gonna do this."
I think that
could have worked, maybe.
I think that's like an interview process, right? That's not when you already when the person already been on the team, you already taught them how to make drinks, you already told them how to clean up. Like,
why not?
What do you mean?
Why not?
Why not what?
Why can't you fire them after the interview process?
It's not that you can't. I'm saying that there's a difference in what you're looking for. There's a difference in how you respond to like interviewing people and how you respond to people working with you already. Because because like I said, you would have to weigh whether or not going through the whole interview process again, finally hiring someone, seeing if they're reliable or not, seeing if they can understand and even do the tasks that you're telling them to do, and have the attitude you want them to have. You have to go through that whole process again with the next person that you choose. So you just have to take into consideration, how often is this happening that you're telling me that you took out the trash and it's not done? If I spoke to you 2-3 times already and it's still not happening, then we get to the written warnings. Now the written warnings are adding up. Now you get fired.
I feel like that's a lot.
Because you, like I said, you still have to weigh. Because another thing too, when you can already make the decision that this person's not going to be here no more and start interviewing people just to make sure that the position is filled before you officially let that person go, so you're not short-handed. There's just different ways to go about it so that you're not fully exposing yourself to all the risks that come with just letting the person go on the spot.
That doesn't apply to this. But that part doesn't apply. You can't. That doesn't, because there's no. We can't have another agent while they're an agent.
I mean, you can start looking.
But they're only gonna have the house listed.
Huh?
They already had the house listed, so it's like it will be listed.
I mean, it's not listed yet. Because I'm like, this would be the time period. Like, once you start noticing now, it's not listed yet. We haven't had that conversation yet. You can, like, start to, if you were going to look for another agent, you would start looking now.
But they're going to list it, like, in the week, in the next week.
Huh?
They're going to list it over the next week. Like, this week. So I'm like...
You could tell them to, like, slow down a little bit. We're going to list it the week after. I just want to see a couple things. And during those 2, now you have 2 weeks to find another person, see if you like them or not, and then decide from there. This
is tough. I feel like I don't know.
I'm not suggesting for you to do that. But
I know. I'm weighing all the options, and like I said, I feel like, listen, my options always cut people off. That's always my easiest go-to option. Just stop talking to the person.
Like I said, if somebody has a merit or value, it may not be that easy to cut them off.
It's very easy. It's harder for me to like.
Because then what if somebody is punctual all the time? I mean, okay, sure. Because I'm like, what if somebody responds, they're a go-getter, but they just bad at talking to people? Or they're bad at something, like, it's not a major thing, but you don't really like it. Like, do you let them go too?
The thing that I'm talking about are personality traits.
Okay.
So if you, punctual is probably one of them too. I think that's a personality trait too that I would prefer, but it's more so about how do you respond to things that come to you. You can respond to it in a jovial way. You can respond to it and I'm gonna get this done. But are you getting the thing done or are you not getting it done? How you get it done is like, somewhat, but like, what, I can't think of the word, but like your persistence or your whatever the word is, I can't think of it, but it's like you're gonna keep going. You're trying. You're making the effort to do the thing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because I was gonna say that circumstance might have something to do with that, but I don't really think it does.
You could always say, hey, I'm gonna be there tomorrow. I'm gonna try this the next week. I have a friend over there. I can ask Danny, or like, and this, like I said, there's other blips like that make me go, Like I said, it's not the first blip, and I'm like, up, they out of here. It's like, there's a little blip, that's a little blip, that's another little blip, there's another little blip. Okay, little blips here and there.
Yeah, I just don't know, like, if you're gonna find blipless people. Is that possible? Do you have to go to a certain place to find them? Like, that's all I'm thinking about.
Well, I don't want to stay on this too long. Okay, so that's where we are at with that segment. Was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I guess y'all could let me know what y'all think we should do if we have not fired them by next week. I guess because here's the thing, right? My natural response is to be like, yeah, sure, you could come to the house right now, right? That's my natural response. But that's also how I got to where I am with the contractor. So that's where my problem comes in. It was like, okay, yes, that is nice to do, but is it the best thing to do? That's why I keep looking at it.
What?
What do you mean?
Like, what do you mean?
With what?
What you just said? He says that what the best thing to do?
To go with the instinct of being like, oh, they're fun, and I'm gonna just text you right back, and it's cool, type of thing. Like the more of an energy flowing situation. Where it's like, I like that, but is it going to lead me down a path that I've been in before? So that's the conundrum. Oh, okay. So for the candles, oh, bruh, I don't even know what to start with. I don't even know what to start. I guess, yeah. Okay. Ember Candle Co. Okay, that's the candle company that we own. So we have decided to add a new form of selling for the candles. Okay, trying to up the revenue for the candles. We decided that we are going to do affiliate marketing for the candles. Sarah. I'm not saying no names, Sarah. But how we're going to structure it is that pretty much very simple. You sell a candle, or somebody buys a candle from your link, you get a piece of the percentage of the candle. Like, simple as that. Yeah, like there's no real complicated. That's it. You sell a candle, you get a percentage of it. So if you have a large following, or you have people that want to buy candles, or you have someone like a business that wants to buy candles, like a used candles, and you get a deal, they buy X amount every month, that's how much money you get, percentage of the candle sold. So we're going to really push hard into doing that, because I think of it like this, right? To me, it's the best way to sell a brand at a smaller level like ours. I think for candles, it's hard to have someone buy a candle that they have never seen before or smelled before, right? I think that if someone else vouches for the candle, it makes it easier to buy the candle. We know the candle's a good product. It's just, I think that if I was, it's me personally, because I don't buy candles, but if I'm scrolling online and I see a candle, unless it's like a candle that's shaped like a titty, or like an iPhone candle, or like it's some like crazy looking candle or something, it's like I'm not gonna buy it. If it says it smells like ocean breeze, I'm like, okay, I'm not buying based off of that. I have to smell it. It'll have to be some type of exotic looking thing, and then I will buy it. So I think that it's easier to sell it in person, and if somebody else vouches for the candle. I think that for the affiliate marketing, that's the best way to go. People will get paid for selling it, and we can leverage like platforms to do it. And like I said, to me, it just makes the most sense for the particular product that we have. So we're going to reach out to smaller influencers. If they're bigger, that's fine too, but we're looking more so like at smaller ones. Because I also feel like a lot of people who are smaller probably don't get paid a lot from their YouTube channel or from their, from their Instagrams. Cause I'm like, I know on YouTube, for somebody to make like $5 for a video, you're going to need a lot of views. If you sell 2 candles or 3 candles, you probably will make more from selling that than you would on your YouTube video, especially if you're a smaller creator. So shout out to all the smaller creators out there. We're looking for y'all. You either DM us or whatever you want to do. We're still trying to work out exactly how we would kind of write it up and things like that. But if you DM us, we can get it started really quickly. We are doing our craft fair this weekend. Okay, we got to get some more money in our pocket. So we're going to be out there in Brooklyn this weekend selling craft fair candles. Haven't been in a while, so kind of excited to see how it's going to be in the middle of the summer. It was going to change a lot. Haven't sold candles in a minute, so I'm excited for that. Hopefully we can make a nice little $1,500 or $1,000 in a weekend. I would be super excited. Okay, super duper excited for that. Now, as far as the house goes, just to update on that, we have cleaned it out. I think I put pictures up earlier of that. The basement was supposed to be painted again, right? Now, tell me why we were at the house on Saturday and the painter came to the house to fix up the stuff that the other guy messed up. Why? Somebody explain to me why the painter came to the house with no paint. And he's looking around like, where's the paint? I'm like, bro, you the painter. You the painter. You guys have painted the house before without, what do you mean, where's the paint? You the painter. So that annoyed me. So then I was like, okay, are you coming back tomorrow? He's like, oh, nah. According to my mom, he was saying something, because he speaks Spanish. He was saying like, oh, no, I party and drink on the Sunday, so I don't work on Sunday. I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. So then Monday comes, I don't hear from him. He said, he told me he's going to come on Monday. He didn't come on Monday. Tuesday come. He said he's going to come on Tuesday. He's like, hey, he told me to buy the paint for him to paint the basement. And I'm like, bro, this is not how this, like, what are you talking about? So now, again, back to what we talked about earlier, would I work with this guy? I wouldn't. I don't think I would. I wouldn't in the future if I had to choose. Like, nah, I don't care if you get the job done, because my thing is, do I want good average people or really good great people? That's how I look at it. And I don't think that he's really good / great. So we're looking towards, well, him, like I said, we have less leverage, but we still need the house to get done. And the contractor asked me for the money. So he said, can I send it to him over in a mail or something like that? But again, we were there to give him the check on Saturday, but he was not in town. So this is what like I said, don't get me started. Don't get me started on this. Okay, so episode playback. Last week's phone call with the contractor. I would give myself a 75% on the phone call. I feel like I came across too passive on that phone call, even with the situations or me trying to manage just the energies and emotions on that phone call. But I feel like I really have a tough time with people that I feel like I'm bullying. And it could be like maybe I have some type of trauma from my past that maybe if I spoke up about something, people started to become emotionally abusive, or they started to act like, there's a term for that. Like when you tell somebody did something wrong and they start like crying or something like that. That may have been how I was brought up with my parents. So maybe I said to them, hey, I don't like it that you're doing this, and they started insulting me or something like that, or they started crying. So I'm wondering if that's where that comes from. But I really, it makes me uncomfortable to have a conversation with somebody and it turns into like childish bickering, or like that whole just like whining babies. Like it really bothers me, because I'm like, I can't even have a legitimate conversation because we're no longer talking about logic. We're having a completely emotional conversation, and I can't. What I'm saying is not getting through, and what the person is saying to me is more so about how I'm making them feel. And it's like, okay, we're having two different conversations. I'm trying to get A done. You're trying to tell me that you feel bad. That's not going to work in a conversation, especially in business, and especially in my opinion, when I don't think it is an emotionally charged conversation, like, or it shouldn't be. Like that's how I look at it. And I also think that a conversation should be able to be had without name calling. Like once it gets to name calling, it's kind of like, it's like, okay, we're here. Like this is where we're at. We're at this level of the conversation. But like I said, I give myself a 75% because I think we still got the HVAC in, so that's always good. I think that we ended the phone call amicably, so that's also very good. And I just think for me, my tone could have been better during the phone call, and I could have been more direct with certain things during that call. So that's kind of how I would grade myself for that. Also, I've been trying to say I more and you less. It's a very weird thing for me, just because it feels extra personal when I say I as opposed to you. Even if I'm not talking about somebody specifically, I'm just talking about people in general. But I think it's a way of like disassociating myself with a particular ideology or a thought process or a feeling. And I also feel like if I were to say I more, then it loses the weight of what I'm saying, because then it becomes a lot more opinionated. And then I think that it gets written off a lot more. So that's something else I think about, why I don't say I as much as you. Oh, so you're right. Melissa last week has said that the UX design has physical products, and I had said that I don't know what she's talking about. So I was wrong. They definitely UX does apply to physical products as well. So she's been taking the course, and she was showing me different things that they have on there for products that are physical. So like I said, it's definitely user experience for physical and non-physical products like social media apps. And as far as Melissa with the job and stuff, I think it's kind of funny that 1 year ago today, not today, but like this month, Melissa did not have a job, and she was looking for a job, and she started to become a PA. And her first PA job, she got scammed, or not scammed. They almost scammed her. They tried to have her send money to them so she could work, but she ended up not doing it. And then she ended up getting a job afterwards, making $75 for the first day, and now she makes like $200 in a day from doing that as a PA. So I think that's always kind of interesting. But
$75 for the week.
For the week? You didn't work a whole week. You worked like 2 days.
Yeah, because they tried it.
Oh, they want $75 for the whole week? That's tough.
Yeah, they was like, yeah.
First day was free actually, but yeah, after that was $75 for the week.
Right.
That's tough. Yeah, I just So yeah, for me, something that's interesting. It's like one of the main reasons for the podcast is to be able to see our life. And it helps me to remember it because it's recorded and I talked about it, on here. I had to watch it again, edit it. And I also want the podcast to help me break my own cycles that I have, because if I don't know the cycles that are happening, then it's harder for me to address them because I don't know they exist. You don't know what you don't know. So I'm just curious to see, like, will next year come around and Melissa trying to find a new job at something else? Like, it's literally like the same month. I think she found her job for the PA thing like July 30th. I think that's what we saw this morning. So I just think it's very interesting. But the difference is last year we didn't have any money coming in from anywhere. This year we have money coming in, but we have so much money going out, it doesn't really offset it. So if we make money from YouTube or the candles, it goes right to the house. So once the house is done, we'll have a little bit of cushion for the pushing to pay our bills. So that's great. That's in the right direction. And with the Turo thing, I'm hoping I can make some money from selling spreadsheets. Everybody's been telling me that, hey, Donovan, you let me make a spreadsheet. You could be a data analyst, or you could make a spreadsheet on Google Sheets or Excel or something like that. So I'm like, you know what? I have been making Google Sheets for like 3 years now, which is kind of a long time since we started doing the finance reports. So I would say I'm pretty proficient in Google Sheets. I think I'm pretty proficient in it. Enough to definitely sell a spreadsheet for Turo and make some money off of that. So
you think that now.
Think what
I
now?
was proficient in Photoshop. I was on LinkedIn and they have a test that you could take for your skills.
No.
Bro.
Photoshop is no. That is not the same.
Bro.
Photoshop is a different beast.
Bro.
I would never be.
I thought it was sprinkling a little finesse.
The people that be doing Photoshop for 10 years are not proficient. They be doing it, be like, man, I just learned. I just found out I can do this. I've been doing it with this box the whole time.
I feel like Excel is the same thing, where they have just different formulas. Like, did you know that if you put these two
But here's the
together
thing.
and make it conditional and
They have formulas. Right? Photoshop is more about creativity, I feel like. Whereas like, I mean, I guess it's kind of similar. I feel like there's less options on Google Sheets than there's on Photoshop. That's what I feel like. Like Photoshop is not Photoshop. Google Sheets, like you write a formula and then you probably add another formula to it, another formula to another formula to it. Photoshop is like, how do I, like, okay, perfect. This is a better example. I think on Google Sheets, there are probably 4 ways to do one thing. I feel like on Photoshop, there are 12 ways to do one thing.
I feel like the questions were just different than I expected to.
Like what?
But where it was more like if it was like, what does this tool do, or like how do I make a layer or something like that, I would have passed. It was like some next stuff, like they wanted me to, I don't know how to explain.
Bro, like I said, Photoshop is because
more technical than it was creative.
Photoshop is a beast of a product. Like if you could be doing Photoshop for 10 years and never use like the wave to change the colors on the thing, and then you have to piece up something. Like, imagine doing Photoshop so well you even know all the RGB codes, you know all of them, and still don't have 1,000 other features you never even used before. Like, there's each feature is so crazy. It's ridiculous. It's insane. Photoshop is a crazy thing. It's so crazy. Photoshop is a beast. But now that you've mentioned that, I do kind of want to take a test on Google Sheets and see what comes up. That'd be kind of fun. So shout out to my guy Rico Paul. So change his name to Sterling Paul. I don't know why. That's his middle name or something. But me getting a job, guys. All right. Here's how I look at jobs. When I was making the most money in my life, right, I was a bike messenger. I was making like $2,000 a week, like 17 to $2,000, something like that a week, right? I had zero time. I had no time. If I was either sleeping or going back to work to make the money. Then I hit the point in my life where I had no job all the time and no money. Terrible combination, okay? What I am working toward is to have lots of money and lots of time. That is what I want. If I have to give up one of the two, and I don't mind giving up my time if it's doing something that I want to do for more money and freedom. That is my goal. I want freedom to do what I want. That is my baseline. I don't want a job if it's going to pay me $100,000 a week if I don't have time to spend the money. That doesn't work for me. It does not work for me.
He also doesn't like authority.
I also do not like authority. I do not do well with authority at all. That's been my makeup since I was in I'm telling you, if you ask anybody that knows me, anybody that has seen me in school, outside, anywhere, they will tell you that I do not do well with authority at all. No capacity. It's at this point, it's comical. Police, teachers, parents, employers, managers, coaches, captains, nothing. I do not do well with it. I'm telling you, right? It don't fit.
There was a third thing. Do you remember?
With what?
Because I said, okay, because the reason why I'm saying this is because I know when Donovan does a podcast, he talks about how much he wants his freedom. I know a lot of people will hear that and be like, well, you can have a lot of money and still have a lot of time. And that would equate to freedom. But then that's why I'm clarifying that he also doesn't like authority, which also, comes with having a job.
Yes.
So there was a third thing that you don't like too. But I don't remember it because we talked about this.
I don't remember. Yes, I don't like not being able to do what I want to do. I don't like not having money, and I want both of them. Yeah. That's it, and that's what I'm working towards. Like I said, we have a YouTube where we get paid for the 4 videos we make a month as of right now, and other than that, I don't have to go to work, and nobody tells me anything about. I don't have to I can do it. Whatever I want. I don't have enough money. That's the only problem. I have all the time and I'm making some money. All I gotta do is multiply the money I'm making and keep doing the same lifestyle. I'm on the right track. We are getting closer to it because my goal is to wake up every morning and get paid while I sleep. Like they say in all the YouTube videos, I want to wake up and be like, hey babe, we just got paid $500 for selling these Turo spreadsheets, or we just sold 1,000 candles. Like, what did you do? What were you doing when you did that? Oh, we were like walking the cats. And we just saw our accountant and said, oh, another $1,000 is deposited. That's what I want. There's no authority to tell me I can't do it. I have to do it this way. No, it doesn't work. I don't like it. Now, would I work? Yes. If it's the last resort. Because here's the thing. I'm not stupid. Okay. I'd rather be homeless before I work. But it's not like I would never work. Okay. If someone came to me and said, Don, I'll pay you $100K a week for 3 months, I would take the money. But this, I'll pay you $100K a week for 20 years. I would say you could go fuck yourself. I don't want it. Keep it to you. I don't want it. I want it. And I can work all day. I don't want it. Keep that. Thank you. So that is how I feel about that. Like I said, listen, we don't be getting to these topics because every week we have I think this week we talked about the real estate agents a little bit longer than I would have liked. I think if I had managed that a little bit better, we probably could have gotten like a topic or maybe 2 to 3 topics in there. But I really like the podcast being around 120 is kind of long, but 112 is the sweet spot in my opinion. I feel like that's it's enough to keep you energized, but not enough that it's this is really long. Last week was a special one though. That was because it had an extra recording in there. But for the most part, I prefer it to be 112. Also because editing it is crazy to have to edit an hour, 42 hour, 3 hour long podcast. Listen, back in the day, we have some back-to-back 3 hour podcasts sitting here by ourselves.
Isn't that crazy?
For 3 hours.
I forgot we did that.
We would start at 2 o'clock and be done at 6:30. Bro, I remember some of them, I'd be yawning, my eyes be closing. I'm like, oh yeah, man. So if you got orange, if you have a carrot and you got the creatine in the carrot meat, bruh, we pulling up stats on the phone. It was a lot for 3 hours back to back, and I had to edit it. There's another 3 hours after that. Then I was making clips, which was another hour, 2 hours. One podcast took 10 hours to finish.
So for the course that I'm taking on UX design, it's supposed to be a 7 month course. I'm trying to get it done in 2 weeks. So I just wanted to put that out there because like if anybody else is interested, I could give that information because it's free. And I feel like some of this stuff sounds like intimidating and it's not. Because, I started this week. I'm in day 4 of like doing the coursework, and I have finished 2 months of coursework already. Mm-hmm. So if anybody is interested, you could DM me at Anita Burn, ANETABURN, and I can give you that information. So yeah.
So we'll be back here next Tuesday. You can find all the behind the scenes content on our social medias. Mine is Donovan Gray, DONIVANGRAY, and my phenomenal, beautiful, amazing girlfriend, Anita Burn, ANETABURN. Okay, you know what it is. Hashtag Bamboo Project 2022. Okay, man, the house is about to be done, guys. We are almost at the finish line. And we about to fire the agents. So who knows what that'll turn into. And with that being said, Bamboo Project out.